This is the Fredericksburg Neighbors Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Dory Stewart.
Welcome back to another episode of the FXBG Neighbors Podcast, where we share the stories of our favorite local brands. I have a special guest joining me today. We've got Lisa Wright joining me, and she is with Lisa Wright Holmes. Lisa, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. This is exciting.
I'm excited too. I'm excited to learn more about you and your business. So let's start there. Share with us a little bit about Lisa Wright Holmes.
Okay, well, I obviously am a realtor and an associate broker in the Greater Fredericksburg area. I am umbrellaed under my parent company, which is Samson Properties, 7 states big, over 6,000 agents big. Fantastic place to work, but my business is, I want to say, more than just a realtor. I love what I do. I love selling homes. I love listing homes and helping buyers engage with their first or last home. But my business model is a little different. I mentor new agents. I coach agents. I do a lot of teaching, a lot of public speaking and seminars because way back many years ago, I was a teacher, and I am a firm believer that education and knowledge is super powerful. So in addition to just handling transactions, I love to teach and share with the community and new agents and watch their light bulbs go off as they learn how to navigate the real estate world. So it's a bigger enterprise than just the average real estate.
I love that. I love that. So much fun, though, getting to help new realtors kind of get their footing. I love that. That's awesome. Congratulations on that.
Yeah.
I want to learn more about you. How did you get into real estate? Tell me a little bit about your background.
This is an interesting path. So for 30 years, I was in law enforcement. That was my chosen career. And I retired from that after 30 years, even went back part-time as a investigator, detective for 2 to 3 years. But when that career was over, I was definitely not done working. And I had had my real estate license since 1995, but could only commit myself part-time during that career path. But I really felt like it was time to take it over. And from the day I was just a little thing running around, my mother was a realtor. She was also a mortgage branch manager. So I went on a lot of appointments with her. I was kind of like her dog whisperer in my younger days. And you'd see a vicious dog and I would let her and her clients go do her thing and I would occupy the dog. But I got to see a lot of what she did. And I mean, who doesn't love looking at beautiful homes? So it kind of was a fever that caught, but I had this other career that I was committed to as well. But when I retired, I just decided it was time to follow in her footsteps. And I'm ever so glad I did. And I certainly can't say I wish I had not done the prior career, but I wish I had started in real estate earlier because I don't go to work every day. I go and engage with people and help them with what I call it's their biggest asset. It's their biggest thing in life is their home. And it's a privilege and a pleasure to do that. So
I love that. I can tell that you love what you do when you talk about it. It comes through.
I don't know if I'll ever quit. I don't think my other half is convinced I will ever quit because when you're enjoying what you do that much and you do know that you're making differences in people's lives, it's just not something you want to set aside. You just want to keep growing in it and doing more of it.
Yeah. I wonder what skills translated from your previous career as a detective. I imagine quite a few.
They did actually. Both situations you're dealing with people, and actually even in law enforcement, there's a lot of times, and I was in a situation many times where I was helping the victim. So you were giving and providing to people, but obviously law enforcement has another side of it, and it wasn't always the best of people. But one thing you had to do well as a police officer and as well as a real estate agent is communication. So a lot of skills were honed from those days of how to engage and communicate. And probably the big buzzword that translates to real estate is how to negotiate. So the organizational skills, the putting the puzzle together, if you will, and most important, learning how to talk to people and how not to talk to them, 100% has translated into real estate.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I love that. I love that. So, do you find that there are any myths or misconceptions that you hear that you would just love to set the record straight?
Absolutely. And I think it's probably true with any career path. We don't do it,
Mhm.
we don't understand it. But a lot of people, I think, sit back and think that real estate is about opening doors, writing a contract, going to a settlement table. And there is just so much more. As a matter of fact, there's a favorite publication of mine that I work with all my mentees, and it was produced by the National Association of Realtors. And they basically have identified about 179 different tasks and skills and methodologies involved in getting transactions from start to finish. So there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and hours and everything behind each of those transactions. And each one, they're very few that you could say is just like the last one. They're all unique
Mm.
people, their needs, their situations. So I think that's probably one of the big ones. I mean, real estate is considered one of the top five, not real estate, I'm sorry, moving is considered one of the top five stressors in life.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to help people navigate that with ease is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
179.
Yes. Now you may not actually
Wow.
have 179 in every single transaction, but 179
Yeah.
tasks that you've got to, at least in part, try to master and try to
Mm-hmm.
adapt to each situation. So there's just it's a lot, and we're our own entrepreneur. We're not, even though we work for brokerages,
Mm-hmm.
we're responsible for our marketing, our advertising, and our creativity, and our blogs and our social media. So you're doing so much more than just opening houses and writing papers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for setting us straight on that.
All the more reason people need a good realtor in their life.
Right, right. So if someone is listening to this and thinks, I've got the right stuff, I could do that, and they're thinking about a career in real estate, what advice would you give them?
I think first and foremost is please don't come into it thinking it's easy, and please don't come into it thinking that it's like a part-time, I can pick it up one day, drop it for a week or two, come back to it. It requires a lot of application and just consistency and what they call rinse, repeat. Just keep doing
Mhm.
it over and over. But just if you apply yourself and you've got a heart for it and you like people, that's half the battle. The next one is, a lot of brokerages don't offer this. Samson actually requires it, and that is that mentorship. If I had had
Mhm.
that 30 years ago in real estate, I may have had a different career path. I don't know.
Mhm.
But it's one thing to go sit for the state exam, and then it's, of course, another thing to apply it on a daily basis. So get a good mentor, a good senior agent, and just
Mhm.
work hard at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great advice. And you mentioned that you're involved in the education side of things. So walk me through what that looks like. What do you do on the education side?
Well, for new agents, they are required to work closely with a mentor in all phases: open houses, paperwork, legalities, listing appointments, buyer appointments, and then sitting down and negotiating the deal. What happens on the home inspection? So we are there to see. We're not there to help them build their business. We're there to help make sure that their first few transactions are I's are dotted, T's are crossed, no legalities left unturned, and that they're taking good care of their clients. So they learn both by watching us, and then we, of course, help them by attending all of those different types of appointments with them. So they kind of get a little bit of everything. Again,
Hmm.
it's not just the book knowledge. So,
Yeah.
um, but then, there's a community education. And I think that's probably one of my favorite points because I love to do seminars. And I have been actively doing seminars every single month for the last 5 to 7 years.
Wow.
Different communities, different HOAs. And
Hmm.
sometimes the topics are real estate. Sometimes they're half real estate, half something else. And I have a professional partnership team that goes out and teaches with me. And then I
Nice.
do a lot of classes for fun. I teach Canva, I teach AI, and it's just a different way to contribute and
Mm-hmm.
keep your face out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Providing value to the
Right.
community. I love it.
Correct.
What is something that you wish maybe a homeowner who is thinking about selling their home and they're a little bit nervous about the process, what would you like to say to them?
I would like to tell them to definitely not brush off nor neglect their concerns, because chances are some of them are valid. Real
Hmm.
estate is a very big process. There's a lot of moving parts in it. And for those that want to do it on their own, the FISBO, if that's your choice, we certainly wish you the best. But just like anything else, we hire doctors for medical concerns. We hire lawyers for legal concerns. And real estate is a big, moving, very important transaction. Our lead instructor and a close friend of mine at Samson Properties teaches all 6,000 of us one thing, and that is we have the ability, if we don't do things well and right, to actually bankrupt somebody. We're talking about their biggest asset when they're selling and buying.
Hmm.
It's a responsibility that is huge. I take it very seriously. So in my counsel, I guess, to someone considering a move is to identify all your concerns and moving parts and sit down with a good realtor who knows their community, their area. There's a million branches of real estate that we can get into. We can't specialize in all of them, but if they will sit down and at least allow us that conversation before, and that's the key point, before they start making big decisions like going under contract in another state with a new home, but not even knowing what their home here is worth or how long it's going to take to sell. So just like, there's always an order to things. And if they talk to us first, hopefully we can set them on a much smoother course.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
better to start out right than to go back and correct.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And what advice would you give someone listening who maybe has never bought a home and they've been renting? Maybe they're kind of thinking, is this the right time? I don't know. What advice would you give them?
I would tell them to, when I was growing up, fortunately, my mother, as a realtor, encouraged me at a very early age in college to try to get my first home purchase under my belt, which I did. And it's trickled down through life and been one of the best things I did. I would encourage them highly to explore it, not to
Hmm.
assume they cannot do it, not to assume they can't afford it.
Hmm.
And this is where a professional team comes into place. And I pride myself in partnering, I think, with some of the very best in the lending field, settlement, contractors, all the different players in the real estate arena. But that first time buyer really needs to sit down with the lender and find out what their options are. It's also a great time for them to learn about their credit, what they should do, what they shouldn't do. Like, please don't go buy a new car during the middle of the transaction process.
Hmm.
Don't open a new credit card. There's a lot of learning to it, and we have people in place at no cost to them other than time that will
Hmm.
help them through that curve. But the average renter in our area, let's just say they're paying $2,000 a month in rent, which is average, and
Hmm.
the average home sale in Fredericksburg area is what, 400 to 500.
Hmm.
If they stop renting, or during a course of 1 year of renting, they're actually losing about 40K between equity and rent that could
Wow.
go towards the purchase of the house. And when you look at it in numbers terms,
Mm.
that's an average, obviously, but when you look at it
Yeah.
in numbers, it's like, wow, that's 20K towards rent a year I'll never see again. That's 20K in
Mm.
equity I maybe could have had. Um, a good lender and a good realtor will get them where they need to be.
Wow. Those are
Yeah,
big numbers.
they are. They are.
That's that's
They're
real
like,
money.
absolutely.
Yeah. So, what is something that you wish the listeners knew about Lisa Wright Holmes?
That I care. I'm genuinely, I care. And when I said I used to watch my mother do her business, the one thing that I will never forget is how she did it. I
Mm.
may not remember all the steps that she used to get somebody to purchase or sale, but I remember her always treating everyone in that engagement equally, handing a husband and a wife a business card, talking to a parent and a child, giving them advice, and never ever letting the transaction supersede whether they really should do it or not. If it wasn't the right time, the right place, or the right product, She was very frank and honest with them. And she always, in my opinion, at least, treated clients like family. And that's what I've tried to carry forward. I do care about my clients very, very much. There's nothing that warms my heart more when I get a great feedback after a transaction of what a difference it made doing it that way. So just the genuine care. I'm doing this for all the right reasons. And I truly, truly care about my clients. They become friends and family for life.
I can feel that from you. I can feel it.
Yeah.
I love it. So if the listeners are inspired and they want to learn more from you, if they want to connect with you, where can they find you?
Well, first and foremost, of course, they can go to my website, which is lisawrightholmes.com. Every single blog I've written, which is one a week for years, is there. There's a lot of great information. I've got custom pages on my website to engage them with more knowledge. But my email is there, lisawrightholmes@gmail.com. My cell phone is out there. I do these seminars. If they're interested in that as well, they can reach out to me and try to get me in their communities. I'm happy to do that. But just reach out. I do answer my calls. I do answer my texts and emails, and I do answer them beyond most hours that some people might consider normal for that. All you got to do is ask my husband about that. But I am responsive, and I will get back to you, and I will take care of you. So
amazing. Lisa, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast and sharing all this wisdom with us.
My pleasure. And thanks for all you do for our community with letting people know what a magical place this is.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Fredericksburg Neighbors Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to fxbgneighborspodcast.com.